The purpose of today's presentations is to inform everyone here, and to those watching via Zoom or to those via a recording, about an encouraging milestone in the history of addressing the problem of cancer in our world. Many, if not all of us, have been touched by cancer in some way. We may have known or know someone with cancer. We may have had it ourselves or have it. And at the same time, we want to learn about treating cancer, alleviating associated pain and reducing the ever-increasing cost of treatment. So here in a very relatively small-sized city, friends and members of our small nonprofit organization, the American Goodwill Mission to China, have been focused on international goodwill and have worked in various ways to work in these important areas. And so in our modest way, with the support of our local university, well known for its strong scientific research in many fields, we will be sharing more about this method of treating cancer, the Warburg way. And it has been recently received approval and a whole bunch of press in China from one of China's more important and active government departments, the Poverty-Alleviation Secretariat. Not going to be endorsing, we're not going to be pontificating or persuading, we're just going to be informing. And we have a great group of speakers today. They will be speaking on various aspects of this topic of addressing cancer in China.
American Goodwill Mission to China, a Tucson nonprofit, has been supporting the initiatives of Tsang in front of us and others for the better part of 2 decades. 20 to 30 average Tucsonans, each with a different motive. We publicly condemn China, but privately support an amazingly productive society that has itself afforded me and a bunch of Rosenblums a better life. Now I'm learning about cancer methodology with its roots in research that is a century old. Maybe this will help somebody out who's in this room. Maybe it'll help out others in the building. Maybe it'll help me. And when it comes to our health, we're deeply regulated and often without any choice at all. I say this now, marveling at a treatment that has its origins in laboratories just a mile north of us and is now an accepted methodology, even though it is abroad, not here. Oh well, better somewhere than nowhere. This is the method, this is the Warburg way now being used in one part of China and potentially very soon in other parts. The world is smaller and more connected than ever, thanks in large part to the Chinese. Do we want governments telling us how to behave, how to judge, what we should derive? Or is what we really need lots and lots of citizen groups, private ones, pushing to get to know one another and to learn from other societies?
Healthcare is also an enabling industry. It enables people by keeping them healthy and productive. And over the years, the mission has faded and morphed. The result caused healthcare to profit in its own products. How? Insurance companies, healthcare insurance companies began to insure healthy people and avoid insuring the unhealthy people. The system encourages hospitals and providers to actually provide more care, not necessarily better care. And that ties with what Tom and the others have been doing on the Warburg technique and methodology. 5 years, in between 2005 and 2010, healthcare grew at about 6.6% annually, which is higher than the GDP growth of 3.8 annually during those periods. You go back to the financial services, a crash occurred when financial services industry became about close to 21% of the GDP. If the healthcare industry crashed similar to financial services, there isn't enough money in the US or probably in the world to bail it out. The implications are horrendous. It's a 4.2 trillion in current expenditure. There are approximately 15 million workers in that industry and 600,000 establishments. Every community in the US is impacted by it, as opposed to the financial services, which was highly concentrated in a few major cities. And in many cases, the healthcare industry is the major employer in some smaller rural communities. I have a suggestion about how to mitigate and put the healthcare industry back on track. Top-down goals need to be set by national and state leaders, percent of GDP, percent of state product, and solutions developed by practitioners with a bottom-up approach, just like Tom is doing on the cancer treatment and those kinds of things.
In China, every year, there are 4.3 million new cancer patients and 3 million deaths each year. And it leads to loss of labor force and families falling into poverty. Shenzhen is the first district in Henan to get rid of poverty status. And the reason that they are successful, because according to the news report, is that they cooperate with Chia-lin Hospital of Chinese Medicine, Chia-lin Zhongyuan, and apply the Warburg way invented by Dr. Tsang to help cancer patients in the district as charitable endeavor. And it decreases the pain, extended life, and it raises the quality of life of the patients. And at the same time, it saved a large amount of health insurance fund and greatly decreased the economic burden of patients. It effectively avoided the danger of having large number of people who had already gotten rid of poverty, but then falling back into poverty. And this could enable older people to march toward the target of getting rich together. This is the slogan you're going to hear in the next 10 years, getting rich together. The chief of the Chia-lin Hospital, Li Jiebing, he informed the reporters that the hospital is a level 1 hospital of Chinese medicine with the responsibility of treatment, prevention, public health, and rehabilitation. With the cooperation of Dr. Tom Tsang and American Goodwill Mission to China, and with the support of local government, the hospital is treating cancer patients in the district with Warburg way. Warburg way perhaps can provide an acceptable option for cancer patients in palliative care in the United States in the near future. That is my hope.
We are very grateful to Dr. Tim Bowden, who was a highly respected scientist and the chief scientific officer of the Arizona Cancer Center at that time. He is no longer with us, but his guidance and his mentorship have been invaluable in shaping the way that Tom, Mike, and I approach scientific projects. Then Tom suggested that the observation made long ago by Nobel Prize winner laureate Otto Warburg should be worth exploring. For if cancer cells require large amounts of glucose to survive, then why not try starving the cancer cells? It seems so simple in retrospect. The concept resulted in the development of the Warburg Way protocol. We sought a different approach, which centered on the Achilles heel of cancer, a hallmark of cancer, its glucose dependency. I became involved in this effort because I felt it was an innovative approach to tackling cancer. Despite the years of challenges we have overcome in trying to get this information out to the world, I am so gratified that the protocol is being successfully applied to thousands of patients in both China and Mexico. The treatment is much more affordable than traditional therapy, painless, with minimal side effects, and effective on solid and metastatic tumors. I am so grateful for our success so far, and for the opportunity, which I never dreamed would happen when I first started my educational career, to contribute to actually making a difference in many lives. The Warburg Way is finally on its way, I believe, to fulfilling its potential, due in no small part to its extensive adoption in China, though many challenges and opportunities for further development and dissemination of the procedure remain.
If you have a patient that comes in who have tried everything else, surgery, chemotherapy, radiation, immune therapy, cell therapy, everything, and the cancer relapse continue to grow, there's about 90% chance if this patient is treated by the Warburg way, this patient will improve significantly and probably live longer. I hope President Biden's moonshot includes a clinical trial for this, because 25 years to reduce cancer mortality by 50%, you can do that with one clinical trial. And of course, if the United States don't do it, China probably will. The science has been there for 100 years. Otto Warburg has tried to get his ideas out his entire life. 95 years ago, he had written and published that if you use insulin to reduce, to deprive glucose to cancer cells, you can treat cancer that way. And there are publications over the years, supporting that. But how do you change a system? I think the innovation here is actually finding a different system to work in when you are stuck in one system. What we're doing is that we're going to China and present this very simple, mature treatment. You don't need any new drugs, you don't need any new equipment. You just need knowledge and implement it. And the Chinese, having their own history in medicine, is very accepting of the idea of let's not harm our immune system when you're treating cancer. And so the treatment really took off. And the last count, more than 40 hospitals has done it, tried it. This latest event, Shenqiu model, is a breakthrough for us, because more than a dozen top-level Chinese websites and magazines has reported on it. And it is endorsed. These are websites of the Chinese government, the Communist Party of China.
And what we hear every day in the newspapers has been about the tensions between the United States and China. At so many levels, the relationship continues to be an important one. The trade, as I mentioned, is one, but it's not just that. We, of course, have incredibly important diplomatic relations with China on a number of different fronts. We have cultural relationships that have been ongoing for a long period of time. So my basic question that I would ask Tom or others that may be knowledgeable is, why didn't this, before we had other chemotherapies and radiation, we got cancer 100 years ago, why wasn't this tried at that time? And why didn't it get into the United States then? Or why, Dr. Warburg was a European, why wasn't it tried in this country at that time? And I think that's one of the questions that we need to be addressing. And is there some way that we can get beyond these tensions that we have with China, that we can deal with this issue and provide for the kind of ability to do the clinical trials and testing that we need to do in order to use this treatment here in the United States? I think we know about the obvious impediments that exist with the pharmaceutical industry, for example. There's not much in this for the pharmaceutical industry, and so they have if not a hostility toward it, they certainly have an indifference. But there seems to be also the impediment of others in the healthcare field, in the regulatory field, in the political arena, and I think in public opinion. So a conference like this today, the people we have gathered here today talking about this issue, I think is really helpful and really important in our thinking about how can we expand the knowledge in the United States and elsewhere about this treatment.
Since 2018, in Nogales, Mexico, we've treated people from the United States, from Canada, and from Mexico. Of the 56 patients, 51 of them have had incredible benefits from using the treatment. The benefits is, first of all, quality of life. Advantages of using the Warburg way to most patients have been pain reduction in 1 to 3 treatments only. Tom just let us know what China is doing to help in the poverty alleviation. And we are so excited about that because we believe that this could be a wonderful model that could be used in Mexico. We've done over 800 treatments, all of them successfully, and the results have been incredible, which is helping people get better quality of life. We hope to continue providing these services and that the word gets out so that more people can find out about the Warburg way.
Going to sign off now, and we'll see you as soon as we can.